stand-ups.
So this weekend is Darren Till versus versus Tyron Woodley. Why did I say versus Wonderboy? What kind of flip was that? You know why? Because I was reading an article this is a really interesting article about Wonderboy and his last 3 fights. The 2 fights with Tyron Woodley that were super duper close, and then 1 fight with Darren Till that was also really close. And they were talking about like how if you looked at it on paper, the people from outside, I think they were saying the global scorecard. I think that's how they're describing it, meaning how people scored it like on average around the world. More people gave it to Wonderboy than gave it to Darren Till, and the same thing happened with the Tyron Woodley fights. I feel like the decisions were right in all those fights. I feel like in the Woodley fights in particular, Woodley hurt Wonderboy. Wonderboy didn't really hurt Woodley. I think that counts for more. It just does. Tyron Woodley had him out. I mean, he had him really hurt. And Wonderboy never had Tyron in that kind of trouble in either one of those fights. So I would give that advantage clearly to Tyron. I would think that if he lost that fight, it wouldn't make any sense. Because fights are supposed to be about who does the most damage, who's more effective. I mean, Wonderboy was effective for more time, but that's just like movement and sticking and hitting him with small shots. But Tyron put him on, unconsciousness's door. He was like right there. It was very dangerous. It was way different.
And plus, you got to take the belt, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I believe that. I think if someone really wins a decision, they really win a decision. But it's just what's most important is damage. If you guys are basically in a striking exchange, we're not talking about like submission attempts versus striking exchanges, like which one's better. He almost had him choked out with that triangle. Well, he almost had him knocked out with that left hook. We're not talking about that because it was basically just a striking match. And in just a plain old striking match, Woodley was the one who landed the bigger shots. In my mind, we've got to figure out a way to quantify that. It just doesn't make any sense where you could see having a guy fucked up and almost out. I think the same way about the Robert Whittaker-Yoel Romero fight. There's 2 rounds in that fight where Yoel Romero is landing bombs on Whittaker, and Whittaker's hurt bad. How does he lose that fight? I don't understand that. It doesn't make it. To me, even if it makes sense in the current scoring system, that scoring system is fucking flawed. That shit doesn't make any sense. Like logically, when you're looking at what's the ultimate goal of fighting. But if you look at those 3 fights, just at least on paper, Wonderboy's like right up there. And Darren Till with 1 fight with Cowboy, 1 fight with him. Those 2 fights were the most high-profile fights of his career. Boom, already got a title shot. It's really interesting. That's how talented Darren Till is. People are so interested in him. 17-0, 25 years old. They're like, fuck, give him a chance. The real battle for this guy almost is not just the fight, which is going to be, of course, a battle, but making 170, and how much longer does he do that? He's hurting to get down to 170. Apparently he was at 182. Yes, he's giant, dude. Giant. You ever see how much bigger he is than Woodley? There's the video at the press conference when they stand next to each other and
how tall is he?
Till puts his hands over his head.
I can't tell. It says inches.
He's got to be 6'2", but he's a big giant 6'2".
Yeah, that's 6 foot even.
That's just 6 foot even?
Yeah, 72 inches.
That's right, it is. He seems way taller than that.
Yeah.
Go to the video of them. That's crazy. Why did I think he was 6'2"? Anyway, just still, we're talking 170.
He is clearly taller.
He's a big fucker, too. It's not just tall. He's thick. He's a big fucking guy. And he has a hard time making that weight. Look how fucking big he is, dude. Seriously.
It's only 3 inches. That looks like more than that.
That looks like more than 3 inches. Unless he's wearing some crazy cowboy boots.
Maybe.
I don't know, but look.
It's going to be hard to do anything to Woodley, man.
Very
It's going to be hard.
Well, there's a bunch of things with Woodley. First of all, the fucking speed. You're dealing with speed that you probably haven't seen before.
Exactly. And his level of wrestling.
Look at these 2 guys.
Has Till submitted anybody?
No.
His jiu-jitsu isn't...
No, there's no submitting with Till. I mean, he knows jiu-jitsu for sure. He lived in Brazil for a few years. He actually speaks Portuguese.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah. He got stabbed in London and then went to Brazil to fucking recoup and hang out and lived there for a while. I don't know the full story of it, but he speaks perfect Portuguese.
Yeah.
After one of his fights in Brazil, he addressed the crowd in Portuguese. It was pretty crazy.